Last weekend marked the announcement of a new boot brand in the rollerblading industry, Standard Skate Co. It was given a soft launch at Bittercold 2023, which looked as if it was absolutely incredible. Massive shout out to Luke Naylor for coming first, Julian Cadeau for coming second, and Joe Atkinson for coming third. If you stopped by the trade show, you would have seen that Balance Distribution had a booth and they were stocking all their gear from 50/50 frames, from Chroma wheels, and a new boot brand called Standard. They had an image of the skate on a piece of glass, piece of kind of blue, black, dark glass, and they also had some merch in the form of t-shirts. As most of you will probably know already, the man behind the brand is Lawrence Ingram, who does Back to Blading. He also runs Balance Distribution and Chroma, 50/50, Compass. He's been very active in the rollerblading community in the past few years. He has a long history as one of the original owners of 50/50, and he's come out with this brand. It looks like he's teamed up with some people that I'm going to name later in the video, and they've come out swinging with a really strong image, really good brand identity, and I love the way that they teased the skate by not bringing the actual skate so that people could take loads of photos and leak it all over the internet. They've just basically forced people to only have this one very minute look at it, which I think is pretty clever and builds up hype. Lawrence has actually already teased the skate. He teased it back in November 2022 on his podcast on, I think it's called Gear Talk, episode 105, where he showed the boot, but it was covered in tape, so you couldn't actually see what it was, but it gave you an idea of the silhouette. He's been taking this to various events and letting people try it on just to get an idea of sizing, do a little bit of R&D, put various liners in it, just so people can see how it compares to current skates that are on the market. And now it seems like they're finally ready to unleash it upon the world. In this video, I'm going to be talking about their marketing and their branding. I'm going to be talking about why I'm really excited about this brand and why I think that it could be a really good competitor for the other major brands that are operating right now, like USD, Razors, Them Skates, etc. I'm also going to make some team predictions. A couple of them I kind of already know for certain, and one is an absolute estimated guess. And I'm also going to talk about the rollerblading public's reaction to it, things that they've got right, things that they've not got right, similarities in the current look of the skate to other models that are on the market at the moment. So yeah, let's get into it. So they obviously launched Standard Skate Co at Bittercold 2023, but at the same time, Standard Skate Co also launched its Instagram account, which came with a really strong marketing strategy and has already put up a few posts that have got people talking, got people speculating, gotten them comparing to brands that have already existed in the past. So let's talk a little bit about that first. So the first post they put up was just an image of the logo. It was on a kind of natural cream background. Kind of reminds me of the Soap Shoes logo a little bit, but maybe my memory's just playing tricks on me. The next image they put up had a slogan at the bottom saying welcoming you to the new standard, and could be what could either be construed as one person walking through two portals or three people walking through two portals, depending on your perspective. This got a lot of people kind of comparing it to Mind Game, saying it had Shane Coburn vibes. I can kind of get why they would think that, because obviously Mind Game had the Mindkind thing with like the guy, and yeah, I can see where they're coming from, but it's quite easy to make that comparison. You can basically relate most brands to anything that have come before it if you try hard enough. It kind of reminds me of the like safety information things that you get on airplanes, but yeah, fair enough. But it was the third post that got me interested and got a lot of people interested, because once again it had an image of three people and it looked like they're being sucked up into a kind of vortex or black hole, and it had a lot of people speculating that maybe that was alluding to the fact that they're going to have three team members. Ryan Parker commented underneath saying, "Who are the three?" I'm kind of tending to lean towards the same way of thinking, but we'll get into the team announcement later. Someone commented, "I'm feeling a Jeremy Baytall on this. I may be wrong." I don't think that's that incorrect a conclusion to jump to. Jeremy Baytall has done a lot of work for Lawrence in recent years. He's been heavily active in terms of the packaging and the wheel design for Chroma, so it's not unreasonable to think that Jeremy may be involved. If he is, that is a great move, because Jeremy is an unbelievable artist and he knows how to put out a strong aesthetic. Although there's always going to be someone negative in the comments, and someone said Mesmer AF. I don't really see the Mesmer reference. I don't know if the font's the same. I don't really think it is. And the images of the three people going up into the black hole, it reminds me of two things. One, it reminds me of the warning electrocution signs that you see everywhere. And it also reminds me of the Kanye West artwork from his Yeezus tour, where he's basically getting sucked up to heaven, it looks like, or dropped from heaven. But I don't really see the Mesmer reference. I think that is a little bit of a reach. And then on the next post, they say, we're not reinventing the skate, just making it better. The interesting thing I saw about this one was, if you look at the logo in the bottom right, or halfway up the right, it bears more than a passing resemblance to the Salomon logo that was made infamous. And Lawrence has regularly spoke about Salomon on his Gear Talk show. Stefan Brando used to skate Salomons, and it looks like the general public have kind of got the same idea as well. Someone wrote, wait a minute, I see the Salomon reference in the logo. Another person said that logo was giving Salomon vibes. So it looks like a few people have cottoned on to this. Again, nostalgia is huge, Jumblading. If you kind of pass off anything like that, or you reference the past in any way, look at them skates. Them skates have referenced Salomon in two of their recent skates. The Pat Ridder skate looks a lot like the ST8 or the ST9. I always get those two mixed up. And the Clark skate has the blue boot and the tan frame, which again is the ST8 or the ST9. What came first? It was the tan ST8 and then the blue ST9? Or was it the other way around? My memory's terrible. One of you guys will know. Either way, it was the ST8 and the ST9. So if them skates can get away with it, Standard Skate Co can get away with it. Another interesting thing about this image is it gives a brief insight into the sole plate, and it looks like the sole plate isn't flat. It looks like the sole plate kind of leans in the way. So it basically means that if you're on a rail or on a ledge, you've got a little bit more stability because it's basically like keeping you on, which reminds me of the juice system that 50/50 used to have, which was on UST skates. Again, that would make sense because Lawrence was involved in that, and it's something that's proven, it's something that works. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to take something that you know is already great, tweak it, make it more user-friendly. If that's what they're doing, very, very clever. The next image doesn't really give away much. It's just a kind of vague photo of the back of the shell, quite heavily distorted, and says the new standard is coming. So they're just reinforcing their marketing. But the next image had a lot of people talking because they said it had a kind of mind game feel, a kind of Shane Coburn vibe. I think that's a little bit unfair. I wouldn't say it does entirely, but I can see where they're coming from. Again, it's got a slogan that says that was then, this is now, got their logo at the bottom. What are people saying in the comments? Obviously, there's going to be a negative Nancy. Someone's wrote, ooh, a hype train, how original. I'm really sorry, but that's marketing 101. If you start a brand, you try to build a hype train. Them skates did it, Mesmer did it, Standard Skate Core tried to do it. Like, you can't really blame them for that. I mean, come on. Someone did point out the Shane Coburn reference. They wrote, Shane was name dropped in an episode of Gear Talk. It can't be a coincidence. I think people look for comparisons where they want to, and yeah, I don't really remember any kind of mind game artwork that looked like that, but if that's the way you feel, carry on. If you look at the branding or you look at the footage from Hawk Trackler's Bitterclash 2023 edit, which is incredible, you should check it out. You can see Law wearing the t-shirt that has the logo that kind of looks similar to the Salomon logo, and you can see some of the articles that people picked up, some of the t-shirts they had. It definitely does look reminiscent of Salomon. Either way, they're going for a strong image. They're going for something simple, bold. It's proven to work in the past. No reason why it can't work now. And I really like how they've come out with a strong unified aesthetic. It's obvious they've been sitting talking about it, thinking about it, doing it right, not just rushing out some release. And I like it. It's got me quite excited. I'm intrigued to see what the final product's going to look like. Now, let's talk about the skate. I love the way they announced this. I love the fact that they didn't actually take the skate to the trade show so that people could, basically leak the crap out of it. They brought a piece of glass. It had an image of the skate on it, and that was the only perspective you got. You couldn't see the back, you couldn't see underneath, you couldn't see it from the top, you couldn't see it from the front. You just got the side-on view. You got a vague idea of the silhouette, of the sole plate, of, you know, its design. And I really like what they're going for. People made comparisons to this skate. They said, oh, it looks like a 909, it looks like a Mesmer, it looks like this, it looks like that. I have my own conclusions about it. From looking at the skate, it looks like it's got a ridge just underneath the lace holes, which is very similar to a USD sway. I'm currently riding USD sways. I really like them. In fact, the only thing I don't like about the USD sway silhouette is the holes that it's got on the side of the boot. I just think they're unnecessary. They're not aesthetically pleasing. It just feels like something that doesn't need to be there. This boot doesn't have that. I also like the look of the sole plate. It looks quite beefy. It looks quite generous, which, if you're not the greatest skater like myself, you need all the help you can get. I also like that it's got a curved backslide groove as opposed to things like the 909 or the M12 that's got the kind of triangle, which I'm not that keen on. And if the previous image that they teased on Instagram is anything to go by, and it is a little bit sloped down, like the 50-50 juice system, I think that's a really clever idea, and I'd really like to see how it works in action. I never got to skate the juice system because I could never afford a £300 pair of skates when I was a teenager, so I never had them, and I do feel like I missed out because a lot of people swore by them. So I'm really intrigued to try these ones. As I mentioned previously, Law's been taking these to events and letting people try them on just to get an idea of sizing, get feedback, see what works, what doesn't. And I've spoken to a couple of people on the Blader web, that's the dark web for rollerblading gossip, and they have said that they're really happy with the fit. They said that it kind of compares to the 909 in certain aspects in terms of like width and how generous it is for the fit. So if you like the 909, there's a good chance you'll be happy with this. Also, there's a rumor floating around, and I don't know how true this is or how substantiated it is, but you know, may as well throw it out there and see what happens. Niche Skate Co., which has been teasing images of skates forever, which basically looks like a kind of slightly redesigned 909 with a more generous sole plate. A lot of people that I've spoken to are under the impression that this might be that skate, or that they might have somehow got the plans for that skate off them and modified them slightly. I can kind of see similarities. The cuff, from what I can see on the image, the cuff looks a little bit similar to the Niche Skate Co. cuff, but it doesn't have that ridge on the boot that this one does. Also, the toe area, is it the same? Is it not? It's kind of difficult to tell at this stage, but if that is the case and Niche are no longer doing their thing and they've handed it over to Law, that could be quite interesting, controversial. Could start some kind of like brand animosity between them skates and Standard Skate Co. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. All we've got to work on right now is this one image, but I'm quite interested to try it. A lot of skates that have come out in recent years I just think are overly complicated, and if history's proven anything, it's that simple silhouettes work. Like basic skate technology that operates well works. The M12 still going strong after what, 30 years? The Razor's cult, people still love it and swear by it. The M909 in recent years, it doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to have all these features. It just has to be a simple silhouette that has a nice fit and works well. This seems to be playing into that logic, and you can tell by their branding, you know, they're saying we're not reinventing the skate, we're just improving on it. And if that's what they're going for, it's a brilliant idea. Looking at the comments online, a lot of them are positive, and someone mentioned that they hope it's a price point skate and that someone's introducing more affordability into the sport, which, if that is their plan, that is a really good one, because there are some skates out there that you can get under the 200 mark that are good, but for the most part, most of the pro skates that are coming out and the higher end skates that you want are all between generally 250, 300. So something that is a little bit more within the range of, say, a child or their parents to buy and make it a more affordable entry-level skate could be onto a winner. Someone wrote, sort of reminds me of a USD 7 shell, and underneath someone said, if it had a baby with a them skate. I don't really see that, but okay, fair enough. And someone commented, looks like an out poppy. It looks nothing like an out poppy. One of my friends had those when we were younger. They were terribly ugly. They looked like giant Frankenstein boots. They were not even remotely user-friendly or ergonomic in terms of what they were required to do. They were really clunky and unresponsive and heavy and awful. This does not look anything like an out poppy. Someone commented, looks like a Mesmer hybrid skate. I mean, it's got the ridge, so it's kind of similar to the sway / the throne in that aesthetic. The sole plate, is the sole plate anything like the Mesmer sole plate? Mesmer sole plate doesn't have like a backslide groove, so I wouldn't say it is. And the Mesmer sole plate also doesn't tilt. Again, I think that's a little bit of a stretch. Someone wrote, pretty standard looking boot. I don't know if that was an attempt at a pun or not. I don't feel like it was. I think that's the whole point. I think that's what they're going for. Like, simplicity is key. Simplicity wins out, because history has proven that that is the case. It doesn't have to be clever. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to have loads of things. It just has to do the job and look all right on your feet. The one comment I did agree with was this guy called Marco, who wrote, it's a new skate with inspiration and elements from well-known skates on the market. I feel like that is what's happened. I feel like that's what they're going for. They've taken the various elements of things that they like and applied it into a new project. It kind of reminds me of like what them skates did with the street frame. They saw elements of the Symmetrics frame that they liked and applied that. They saw elements that they liked of the ground control frame with the bolts that you only need one Allen key for. They applied that. They came out with their own groove, or a groove that isn't taken from either of those models, and then just put it into one. That's what product development is. Taking things that work, getting rid of things that don't work, and coming up with your own version. No problem with that. We're halfway through the video, so I want to give a massive shout out to my Patreon supporters. They are listed on the screen now. If you want to join the Patreon, you can do so for as little as £3 a month. There is a ton of stuff on there now. There's some Winterclash panels on there, which I'm not putting on YouTube, at least not anytime soon. There's unreleased videos. There's videos that get taken down off YouTube that's up on there, as well as rants, industry gossip, photos of products that you may or may not have seen yet. So yeah, get involved. Also, we've got a new t-shirt out. It is shown on the screen now. Postage, if it's international, is £5, and postage, if it's in the UK, is free. So yeah, pick one up. That's enough of the hard sell. Let's get back into it. Now, let's get into the exciting stuff. The team. If you look at the imagery with the thing with the three guys, it would imply there's going to be 3 team members. My prediction for the 3 team members, number 1, Yandriel Silverio. Why do I know this? Because I flat out asked Yandriel a few months ago if he was officially on Mesmer or not. He said that Mesmer were giving him free skates, but he's now going to be skating for a new boot brand. He told Billy was really cool with it. He tried to buy some new sole plates off Bill because his were all worn out. Billy gave them for free because he's a decent dude. Yandriel is still skating Mesmers at the moment, but he has confirmed that he's going to be riding for a new boot brand. Yandriel already rides for 50/50. He's got a pro frame with him. He already rides for Chroma. He's got multiple pro wheels with him. Both are owned by Law. Both are under balanced distribution. It makes perfect sense that Yandriel would ride for Standard Skate Co. Also, if Yandriel gets a pro skate from Standard Skate Co., it's going to be the complete pro skate. It's going to be like a 90s pro skate. You're going to have the boot, pro from the brand, with the pro frame, with the pro wheels. I love stuff like this. I think there's certain elements of nostalgia that can just get in the bin, but that aspect, I loved it when USD used to release the skate and it came with like the 50/50 frames and the Senate wheels and stuff like that. If they're planning on doing something like that, I am all for it and I can't wait. Plus, Yandriel, I think he's one of my favourite skaters from America of the past few years. I've loved the sections he's put out for 50/50. I've loved the sections he's put out for Chroma. I hosted a section. I posted Magnetician on the Wheel Scene YouTube channel. I've had him on Platform Podcast. Really lovely guy, really intelligent, really funny. I really hope he does well. I want the best for him. Yandriel's awesome. I think he's a great ambassador for the sport. He's just really hyped on blading, really excited, really passionate. And I think we need more people like that. We need strong personalities. The second prediction I'm going to make, Stefan Brando. Now, I know Stefan is currently getting hooked up with skates from FR. He put out a promo for, I think it was Chroma, not too long ago, skating FR skates. But hear me out. Stefan has got a long-standing working relationship with Law. He has a pro frame with 50/50 from them. He also has a pro wheel from Chroma with them. They have a good relationship, they work well together. They've got Jeremy Baytall involved as well, who Stefan is a huge fan of. He's spoken highly of him for years. Also, if you look at the Bittercold Showdown footage from this weekend, or the photos, you can see that Stefan's working at the booth, so it makes perfect sense that he'd be involved in this brand. Again, you've got the full complete pro skate if he gets one. You've got the Stefan Brandl Pro Skate, the Stefan Brandl Pro Frame, Stefan Brandl Pro Wheels. Win, win, win. Now, my last prediction is a bit of a guess, a bit of an estimated guess, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Brian Weiss. I have regularly ranted and raved about Brian Weiss in tons of videos I've made over the years. I think he's a phenomenal skater. I think he's one of the most slept on skaters in America. If you look at his section that he did with Don Bambrick for Street Wheels, it was called Gentry. He skates with Don Bambrick, who is unbelievably good and holds his own against Don Bambrick. Don Bambrick. He has so many brilliant tricks in that section, like this one, and this one, and this one. I also paid for him to go out to Texas for a week and film a section with Aunt Medina for a not very long-lasting video series that we did called Select, and in the space of a week he absolutely murdered Austin, Texas. Let's just say Texas. There are so many just jaw-dropping tricks in this. The transfer that he does at the end of the section, switch. The wall ride to backslide. Wild. I don't think I've ever seen anyone wall ride like that and then hop back onto a backslide. And then this trick. Woo! He also had a phenomenal section in Lonnie Gallegos' Feet series, which just had such clever use of spots, really technical skating, really out the box thinking, all executed unbelievably well. I love this like drag over fish brain, hop to fish brain out. I mean, that's just flawless. This wasn't bad either. Ryan was riding for Vibrolux, but things have kind of gone quiet there. He was skating the Vibrolux VX skate, but yeah, don't really know what's going on with Vibrolux anymore. They don't put out products that regularly. They do like yearly drops. He was also riding for Razors, but quit, and then Razors tagged him in Brian Shima's Pro Skate promo, which was kind of weird, but yeah, when do Razors not do weird stuff? Since then, he's just not really, he was on ground control for a while. I feel like teams are missing out and not having Brian Weiss. He has consistently put out brilliant sections over the years. He's got a new section out called Nail in the Coffin that was made by Hawk Trackler. Again, really high level skating, creative skating, and just the stuff that I love to watch. People just being clever with their obstacle choices. I feel like he would be an asset to a brand. He knows how to film. He's a good photographer. He is a brilliant skater. They're basically getting a triple threat. Why do I think it's Brian Weiss? Well, first off, he's quit Razors fairly recently. He's also got the connection to Stefan Brandl. They've filmed together before, they've hung out before. I'm pretty sure when Stefan Brandl had his clothing brand, Brigade, he sponsored Brian Weiss. So it's not that much of a reach to think that Stefan would have a word in Law's ear and be like, we need to get this guy on board, because they need to get that guy on board. If that team has Yandriel Silverio, Stefan Brandl and Brian Weiss on it, I am gonna be hyped. But like I said, that's all conjecture. I could be proven to be completely wrong. I probably am completely wrong. And then you can make fun of me in the comments. I'm excited about this brand for multiple reasons. I like the branding. What I've seen of the skate so far, I like the look of the skate. And if I'm right about my team predictions, I think that could be a really good contender to compete with the other brands that are popular in blading right now. Lawrence Ingram, since he's come back to blading, he's built up a really big audience with Back to Blading, his YouTube channel. He does really great work. It's a good reference for people who are either new to the sport or aren't so clear on the technical aspects of it in terms of blading technology. He gets interesting guests on there. He's also started Balance Distribution, which is doing a brilliant job. They've got 50/50, which has got Chris Farmer on it, the legend, who was on the original 50/50 team before it disbanded and had a section in the Juice team video. They've also got Stefan Brando and John Fromm, giving them frames. I think they're underdogs that haven't really got the respect they deserve in the industry. John's just got a pro skate. Congratulations. Awesome. Stefan not being as fortunate. He was on Roses. They didn't want to turn him pro. He was on Razors. They turned him pro, but then just didn't want to do anything with him. I feel like this could be a golden opportunity for Stefan to just kind of finally get the recognition that he's been looking for. With 50/50 as well, they also give new frames to like up-and-comers like Yandriel Silverio. Another person from Europe that's been slept on over the years is Sasha Lopez. John Fromm, Sasha Lopez and Stefan Brando have got a phenomenal amount of output. If you search any of their names on YouTube, they have got a wild back catalogue and some really good skating in there. So I feel like Law is really good at seeing people who aren't getting opportunities and giving it to them. With Chroma, the artwork is great, the art direction is brilliant, the packaging is really good as well. And with both the brands, they're giving regular products to people and giving them good royalties for it. With Chroma, they've given wheels to Stefan Brando, China Wirestall, one of the greatest female skaters of all time, arguably one of the best female street skaters of all time. And they've given a couple of pro wheels to Yandriel Silverio, who, like I said, love the guy, always want to see more of him. Then with Balance Distribution, they also do distribute mushroom blading wheels, and I think they help produce them. Mushroom Blading Wheels, the wheel company, has taken off. Every time those guys release a wheel, it sells out, like what, within 24 hours, sometimes within a few hours. I tried to get some of their Wizard wheels. I think they were like 80mm or 90mm or something, 100mm. I can't remember. Ones to go in Wizard frames. And they were gone within the space of a few hours. The fact that those guys are working with Lawrence just makes me respect him even more. I think Lawrence has got a good head on his shoulders. He's clearly successful in business if he's managing to run all this stuff on the side. He's got a distribution warehouse that's got a mini ramp in it. He's building up these various teams. He's also got Compass as well, which is releasing pro products, easy for me to say, not very. He's also got Compass, which is releasing pro products for Guy Crawford, Matt Leon, and they're making big wheel frames. I think this is going to be a success. I think they're going to make a good run of it. I really like where they're going with everything they've done so far. I can't wait to see more detailed images of the skate, and I really look forward to trying them. There's not that many skates in recent years that I've been excited about putting my foot in. That is one of them. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like the look of the skate? Do you not? What do you think about the branding? What do you think about the potential team? Yeah, let me know. Speak to you guys soon.